Hello, people of YouTube. Sorry, I'm putting the video down a little. Okay, welcome back to another Q&A. This is Q&A 4. This is a dedication Q&A. I mentioned this last time in my last video. This is dedicated to Yaron Bowden from YouTube and Facebook. He hails from the land of Facebook. I'm sorry. This is a dedication Q&A. Basically, I'm going to be doing this every now and then if people come to me more than one question. And rather than answering one question at a time in each other video and save them going around looking for the video and the answer from their question in each video, then I'm filming it in one. Like, yay. Alright. Basically, new backdrop. Do you like? Yeah, you all like it. Yeah, so this is my personal Q&A for Yaron, and he asked me 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. Yeah, more or less 4 questions. There's 3, but 4 main questions. Also, new t-shirt. Yeah, you are. I ordered it and got it, and a signed CD. Yay! Another story for another day. Right, so let's get started. First question he asked me, and it's quite a common one. Do beads lock up dreadlocks? No. That's it. It's answered. No. They don't necessarily lock up the entire dread. I suppose you can lock up a section with the dread. It can help the process, but it doesn't necessarily lock the dreadlock up. It just tightens and compresses it, and then as soon as you take it off, the dread naturally does what it's meant to do again, and it kind of wears off eventually again. Best way to do the bead process, I mean, there's a few people that I know who have done a bead kind of process on their dreads and tried to tighten them up over the coming weeks or months of their journey. Best way to do it, get your bead, stick it on your dread, put it about that far from the root, maybe an inch, just about an inch from the root, and leave it there basically for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Take it off. Well, don't even have to take it off, just slide it down the dread about 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch or so, basically just to get to another part of the dread. And then keep doing that all on and on and on and on, and then take it off the dread. And voila, you've got sort of compressed dreadlocks for a little while. There's another process called binding, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but yeah, that's more or less what it does. Compress the dread for a while, and then wears off after you take it off. That's it, that one. Now, just a quick tip on the sort of beads you use. Wooden beads have to be treated beads. They don't usually come treated. Basically what I mean is, say you were standing on a decking in your garden and it was untreated and water seeped through it. The water's going to seep through and it's going to soak up, and over time it will become weak and it will become spongy and basically just rot away. And that's what would happen with your dread beads if you were to wash your hair with beads in. I'm not saying you have to wash your hair with beads in. It's better to take them out and put them back in when they're dry the next day. But yeah, untreated wooden beads are very bad for your dreads. Best beads to use are bone, which are, I think they're getting quite popular now. Bone beads. So you can get teeth, like shark's teeth, that are hollowed out. You can put your dread in. They're quite cool. Steel, copper, wire beads. Why not? There's just a bit of fluff going down the side of the camera there. There's another one. Sorry, getting carried away. Yeah, so that's the beads I recommend. Bone, steel, copper. There's yarn beads, like rope beads or thread beads if you like. They're quite cool. They're raster beads, different colours and things. They're quite good for your dreads. I mean, you can leave them in it when you're washing your dreads as well. They help compress the dread quite well. Over time, you can get the long ones like Chinese finger traps. You know, the finger traps where you can't take them out. You get long ones that slide on and you pull and it tightens the, like, goes over the whole dread. Like, just ignore that. Yeah, so that's the beads. They don't tighten dreads up, no. Over time they can compress the dread slightly, but that's about it. They're more or less a fashion statement to your dreads and giving yourself a bit of character. What are rubber bands on the roots and the tips for? Now, the very simple answers. Basically, on the root, when you have your dreads installed, you'll notice that after a couple of weeks they'll become looser on the roots. It's normal, it's part of the process, and it's what happens with dreadlocks when they're young. Over the coming months, they start to get a bit looser and a bit frizzier and fluffier and what have you, and then they eventually become quite afro-like and spongy on your hair, on your head. Hair, they're not hair anymore, but yeah. And what happens is people put them on the roots to hold the dread in place. Now, this doesn't really tighten the dreads up necessarily, but it does help keep the hair together once you've had them knotted up for the first time. I recommend about 1 inch or 2 from the root, maybe, yeah, put 1.5 inches from the root. Otherwise you're going to cause attention on the scalp and it will cause some pressure on there, which you don't want, because it can snap hair or damage the dreadlock, the body of the dread later on in time when you have them growing out slightly more. And it also stops 2 dreads combining and creating a Congo. Basically, when the hair fluffs up at the root, it becomes quite fluffy like an afro, and you know an afro is like fluffy and puffy. And what happens is the hair locks up and it interlocks together and does what it's meant to do anyway. And then after time, you'll have 2 dreads that you have to rip apart just to stop them congoing if you don't want the Congo. But yeah, that's the purpose that serves, and it doesn't lock them up. Just keeps it locked. Okay. When you take it off, it'll do what it's meant to do. The dread's going to carry on doing what it's meant to be doing. So it doesn't necessarily lock the dread up. Okay. That's the main purpose on the root. That's mostly the main purpose on the root. I don't recommend having them on any longer than a month, because they start to seep into the dreads and start to lock themselves into the dreadlock, and it's a bitch to get them out. Alright. On the tips, people usually do them on the tips when they're blunting the tips up. Also frayed dreadlocks have some on the tips, and that's different. It's a different method. Now, when you blunt your tips up on your dreads, if you've got them done the day on your dreadlocks, it's good to blunt the tip, rubber band the tips for a little while, usually about this much, down the blunted tip, just to catch the hair rather than go above the hair and the hair. Basically, there's your blunted tip, alright, right there. And you want to go about here. So about fingernail, alright, about a fingernail from the tip of the dread. You want to tie a band. Not too tight, also for the root, not too tight, probably once or twice round, no more. And that's it. You want to do it there, because what's going to happen is the hair you've pulled through to blunt the tip up is going to be in here somewhere, alright? And then best thing to do is crochet in and out of the tip from the sides, not just the tip, from the sides, to get that hair knotted up tight. Then you put the band round about a fingernail down, because what's going to happen is you're going to tie the hair there, alright? You're not going to tie it all the way down here. And okay, so if you pulled all the hair in from, say you put the crochet hook from here through, and you pulled it all the way up, and the hair landed about here from the tip, so you really loose the tips and you didn't back on them properly, and you pulled it like from here all the way through the dread, you basically just pulled the hair and just stuck it all the way down the dreadlock. Alright, so what's going to happen is you put a band up here, you're going to get a kink, and when you get a kink, you get this kind of kinkiness, and then the hair will fray out, because it's got nowhere else to go. You've tied it, it's got nowhere else to go, it can't come back down. Okay, so it's going to come out eventually, and you've not knotted it up properly. So when you pull it down and you back comb nice and tight to the tip, you want to pull all the hair, rub it with your palm. Alright, rub the dread with your palm. I'm not going to use mine because they're slightly wet, I've just tied them up quick to do this. Rub the palm on the dread, crochet down, and then you want to crochet in and out the thread just to get it knotted up properly inside, and then rub a band up there, put a nail down, and leave it. Alright, don't bother touching it again for another few weeks, and then when you take the band off, do it again if you want to make sure it's all blended up. Within 3-4 months, you usually have a perfect blended tip, and I can recommend that because I have my tips where they were all blended. I mean, they were all perfect, and then I had to go and ruin them. Excellent, eh? So yeah, that's basically that's all that serves at the tip, is to keep it knotted. It also makes them look neater and adds a bit of colour if you're using colourful rainbow style bands, which are quite cool. I've got hundreds of them because clients want them. Don't know why. I'm not fussed about them anymore. I've gotten bored with bands and stuff on my dreads and beads and stuff now. But I am going to braid them soon, I think, when they get long enough, and then I'm going to yarn wrap them, which I'm going to talk about now. The other question was, what is my opinion on dread binding and what purpose does it serve? dread binding, you didn't really elaborate. I don't think you did anyway. I got the question as quick as I could, wrote it down, then I went back to see the question, it was gone. But I apologise for that. YouTube haven't got back to me for the reason they deleted it, or it just went missing or whatever. No idea, it's never happened before. Dread binding, basically using yarn, floss, ribbons. It's just some people use dental floss. I don't know why. There's like yarn wire you can buy as well. I never knew that, but apparently you can. You can buy steel but yarn wire. Who knew? Basically, that's what I'm assuming you mean. And what happens? You get you some. Hang on 2 seconds. Get yourself some yarn. You can buy it in craft shops and sort of home shops, like family shops and stuff. Craft shops are probably better. The works are very good. They do like two big balls for like £3, I think. Mix and match, I think, for £5 for like £4.50 or something. I don't know. But it's just acrylic yarn, basically. Don't know if it's going to focus on it, but yeah, it's just yarn, thin yarn. Best to use thin rather than thick. Now what happens? You take the yarn, good length, probably 1 meter, usually from hand to hand is 1 meter, and you start at the base of the dread, tie it up, nice couple of knots, and then you'll tie all the way down the dreadlock. Yeah, you keep going and going and going, then you'll probably go up and then down again if you want it to be completely hidden. I like them personally. I think it's great. I mean, I used to do it to mine all the time. I used to have different colours. I got about 20 of these different colours in my room somewhere, and I used to do it all the time. But it kind of tightens your dreads up for some time. Basically what's happening, the reason this works better than the bead method, as I told you earlier, is you wrap your dread up well, you tie it at the tip, snap it off, and then when you wash the dread that you've knotted up, wrapped up, sorry, you're gonna, when you palm roll in the shower, when you're rubbing the shampoo in, you're compressing your dreadlock anyway. Alright, and even when you're washing the shampoo out, you're compressing even more because you're rubbing them in your hand, like, you know, proper rubbing dreads together and like squishing them and all that. And with the yarn on, you're kind of getting a double effect. You're getting kind of a sort of binding. That's basically what it is, a binding effect. And you're compressing your dread underneath the yarn, and then you're compressing the yarn around the dread. Now this is kind of a double effect, and this is why I said double effect, and a binding process. And when you're drying them, you're doing it even more. And once you've done it again and again and again and again, your dreads are going to shrink. Alright, and I'm not joking. Hang on, bear with me. Right. Alright. Sorry. Let's find one. Okay, say this one, alright. This one here. Say I binded him up and I wrapped him up. He'd probably come out, see if we got a thin one. He'd probably come out that size. Alright, so from that, okay, to that. And this is why this one has a kink in it. Okay, I yarn wrapped it quite well and it was quite tight. And obviously when I took it out, might as well keep these down now. It was that skinny, and what it's done is just compressed so much that it's tightened up and it's not going to come loose again. I don't know why the frizz has completely gone on that one. There's hardly any frizz whatsoever, actually. Quite smooth. Yeah, so that's what happens when you do that, and I like that. I'm all for that if you want to do it. Again, acrylic, best one to do. If you use woolen yarn, then you're going to get for first of all frizz in your hair, sort of lint kind of effect you don't want, and it's going to smell if it harbours much water. That's why you got to dry your dreads probably, you know that already. It does hold a lot of water. It'll smell over time because it'll just get mouldy and mildewy in there. You don't know if you've ever left a glass of water in your bedroom for like a week and then you went back and smell it. It smells fucking awful. That's what happens. It just goes a bit off, goes a bit stale, which you don't want. The yarn, the acrylic is basically plasticky. Just lets the water out, basically. The woolen ones are obviously going to leave some residue if you're using a residue shampoo, which you shouldn't be. Residue-free shampoos are the best things to get. Lush do organic shampoos. They're great. Dreadhead HQ as well. Best place to go for them. Yeah, so if you're using a residue shampoo, which you shouldn't be anyway, it's going to leave more residue in than what it would if you didn't have yarn, woolen yarn on your dreads. Alright. Also, with the acrylic as well, if you're using a residue you're going to leave some residue, and it's going to make it worse. That's why you got to take these off probably every month, and then do them again if you want to. But I don't recommend doing them much, to be honest. If your dreads are tightened up, they're tightened up. If you want just a fashion, do a couple of dreads. I like to do different colours and stuff. I showed you the blunted tip. Sorry, I missed. There's the blunt. Don't know if you see it on the white there. Alright, and then you go back to a frizzy one. See, frizzy, blunted. Yeah, so that I basically done within 2 months of my journey. You know, because I'm very good at blunting and doing the dreads anyway, a lot. Yeah, so that that's it. The binding, basically. Ooh, if you want to do a Congo, like personal, like a proper Congo your own, if you want to do it together on your own and you don't want to be waiting for it to happen, basically take your 2 dreads that you want to do it with. I'll do the front actually. Take your 2 dreads. Alright, this is where the binding process helps in a certain way. You want to take one dread and the other. You want to turn one clockwise and the other one anti-clockwise, alright? And then you want to turn them, so you'll go clockwise, no, clockwise, anti-clockwise. You want to go wrap this one clockwise, this one anti-clockwise, and then you're going to cross them, alright? Now it's just like doing a braid, okay? And do it again. Again, twisting each dreadlock the other way, and then pull in and tighten it up, alright? Now what happens is you're kind of knotting it together, basically. Now these are fake, so I don't know how these are going to stick. Alright, so this is basically what happens. They'll stay together for a while, and if you keep doing it, because these are fake, they're more or less acrylic themselves, you're kind of making a braid, alright? Then you're going to crochet, and you want to crochet both dreads together. This is the best way to get a rounded dreadlock when you're combining. I'll do a proper combine video. You want to crochet that like you normally would have crochet your own dread, your single dreads. They're a bitch to get apart. And then you want to yarn wrap them. Alright, so once you crochet them together, you want to yarn wrap them up nice and tight, quite tight. Not too far to the scalp, but tight on the dread body. On the body of the dread, nice and tight, but leave an inch or 2, an inch and a half from the scalp before you start binding. And then after about a month and a half, take it out, and then you'll notice that it's kind of compressed quite tightly and it's becoming one dreadlock already. Palm roll the root every other day with the yarn on, as obviously. And then once you've taken it off, crochet again all the way down the body to make sure you've tightened it all up properly, and then palm roll like normal. Then you should have a perfectly combined dreadlock, more or less. And that's usually how I get my rounded look on my dreads that are combined. I got 2 dreads combined here. Show you this one. This is a combined one. Also, actually this one's a better one. That one there, that's a combined dreadlock. Don't know if you can see it properly. That's a combined dread, and this one's obviously also a combined dread. These are 2 very thin dreads that I combined. Yeah, so that method that I just showed you, that's how I done them, and it does work very, it works wonders actually. I don't know if there's another video on that, but I'll do a proper video of that later on. I hope that helps. The questions I answered quite well, I think, to the best of my knowledge. I apologise if there's anything missing. I don't think there is. Again, these Q&A videos like this are going to be done every now and then if I get too many questions of one person. Saves them looking for the questions in other videos, so I'll just do a dedication video to them and then send it off that way. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. My next Q&A episode 5 is coming out next week, and I don't know what date it is. I'll check the date. Yeah, next Wednesday. I'll tell you the date. Hang on, wait there. I'm back. Yeah, Wednesday the 29th is my next episode 5 of Q&A, series 1. And then on the Friday, 31st is my history video, which is getting filmed in the week, and then I gotta edit it and make sure I'm answering stuff properly and doing the video right. So it's gonna be about an hour long, but I'm gonna split it into 2 sections, alright? Because I got a lot of information to hand out on there. Yeah, so if any of you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the blocks below. Like the video, subscribe if you loved the video, or like just a little bit like the video, and then I'll see you all again for my next video. Yarin, thank you very much for your questions, my friend. If you have more questions, please feel free to ask away, and I'll dedicate another one to anyone who wants the questions asked. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again in the coming week, I believe. And yes, subscribe, like the video, don't like the video, comment below, Facebook me, and Gmail me, dreaddonny@gmail.com. Alright, dreaddonny@gmail.com, and my Facebook is Neil Donovan, Let's Dread South Wales. Keep it happening, people, and I'll see you all again in a week. Peace and love, dudes. Bye bye.